Blessings, brothers and sisters. I wanted to briefly look at Revelation 8 here, talking about Wormwood, and I will be brief. But many may think a star will fall on a third part of the rivers that will poison the rivers or make the rivers water unclean, and then many men will die from drinking the bitter river waters. Some, if not most, see it sort of like that because there's only a literal carnal view without a spiritual one for many going on. And this will occur in the physical, I do believe. But let's read this and take a look at what I got highlighted here, where it says in Revelation 8:10 through 11, "And the third angel trumpeted, and a great burning star fell out of heaven, and it fell unto the third part of the rivers, and unto the fountains of waters." At verse 11, "And the name of the star is said to be Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became changed into wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were bitter." Notice the highlighted part where it says the fountains of waters. Now we know that Jesus, Yeshua, proclaims himself to be the place where the living water is found. If you read John 7:37 through 39, Jesus is the fountain. And throughout the New Testament, water for drinking symbolizes the Holy Spirit. Before the water of life could be dispensed to a lost, dying world, the fountain of living water had to be open. When a well is open, it requires that the earth be torn open so that life-giving water can flow forth. And in the same manner, the fountain of living water was torn open on Calvary. Yeshua was crucified so he could be opened up so that the water of the Spirit might be free to flow to a needy humanity. And the water is always there. It never decreases in supplication or goes away. It is constantly refreshing to the life of a believer, giving us power and joy and hope in this world. So when we read these verses here in Revelation 8, where it says a star fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water, this might actually and physically occur, but we also have to have a spiritual aspect and perception to these scriptures. And please pray for this. Please pray for the Holy Spirit and discernment in these days, for they are weapons more powerful than a piece of metal called a gun you can ever have or need right now. But the star turned the waters into wormwood, making the waters bitter, that men were poisoned by them. Again, this could play out in the physical, but spiritually it's already taking place. We know that what takes place in the spirit will soon play out in the physical. This is happening right now. So the spiritual aspect of these verses, saying the fountains of waters will become poisoned, this is happening now because there's so much corruption in the waters right now. The water is already being tainted. That is taking place right now by arbitrary power or by different false doctrines of deception and lies that people are mixing into the water, into the gospel, meaning the springs of spiritual life, the refreshment and the vigor, another word for stamina and strength and potency, to the souls of men from the water have been corrupted and embittered by a mixture of dangerous errors, of lies and doctrines, that souls of men will, in their pursuit to find refreshment of the fountains of water, will only come to drink and fill themselves up on poison, in which they will find their ultimate ruin. This is what we are seeing now. From Kundalini spirits in the church, the mixing of greed, from the spirit of greed in the churches, abominations of immorality, and unnatural sex being mixed into the waters for acceptance and allowance. It's all tainting the water that people drink from today. There is so much corruption and lies and deception mixed into the water that people have believed these deceptions, have been given over to these deceptions because they're gulping it up. They're gulping the water, the tainted, corrupted water up to the point of their own ruin. For every sin, there is a spiritual consequence of that sin or sins that take place spiritually. People are already drinking from the bitter water spiritually, as it says in Revelation 8. And that will manifest into the physical to where they are not just spiritually dead now, but they will become physically dead. They will physically die. And this is what we are seeing right now. This is what is happening right now. This is what is taking place right now. Blessings and shalom.